Hello and welcome to Paxton Road TV. I am Sam, Spurs for Life, and this is episode number 42 of Talking Points. And the episode tonight is the Spurs job too big even for Conte? What a title that is, eh? What controversial title that is. And it's going to be interesting. We've got in the house Hotspur Hustler on the top row. We've got SUBSRCRIBE, and down, not on the subs bench, but definitely playing, we've got Christina Zandes and Sean Hurl. Shawnee, how you doing? Christina, how you doing? Mike, you doing? Sid, are we all good?
Yeah,
all good. Thank you. All good.
Fabulous. Let's get into this show anyway. But before we do, please, if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new as well. Thank you for supporting us so far, 1,000+ subs, and we couldn't do it without you. So please continue to support us, get your chats and get your super chats, and all the rest of that good stuff. Anyway, right, let's get on. So, I can't remember how many weeks it is. It seems like a lifetime, but it's not that many weeks since he's been here. Antonio Conte looks like he's aged about 5-10 years already. Given the time, he looks good still. Don't get me wrong, he looks good, especially when he's in them suits. But I think he realizes that this job is now a little bit more trickier than possibly first thought. 18-month contract, we know he's got. What's he going to be able to do in this time? I'm going to start off with this. So time. First part of the show. Let's start off with Sean. You ain't been in. Oh, you have been on a while, but I know you've not been well. But welcome back anyway. Is given the 18 months? Is that enough time? Is that enough time for Conte to do anything at Spurs? Sean, what's your thoughts on the contract length? 18 months. He's already spent a month already, so 17 months left now.
Yeah, it does seem a short contract, but given Conte's history, he doesn't hang around for long. I think obviously there's a year's extension possibly available at the end of that 18 months. So I'm not too concerned about the length of the contract. My concern is how much the job is going to be. What he's got to do, the depth of the rebuild, does he get cooperation from Mr. Levy upstairs? Those kinds of things. Time is not, for me, is not the issue. He's very quick normally in turning clubs around. If you think of what he did at Juve and what he did at Milan, Inter rather, so it's good. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about time, to be fair.
So you're all right with the time scale. So Christina, I'll come to you then. So less than 2 years. Obviously, he's got less than a year and a half now. And I'll go with the actual title of the show. Do you think the job's too big for him?
I think it's probably going to be his hardest one, probably that he'll ever do. I mean, yeah. So I just think, like I said, this season is not going to be as pretty as people think it is going to be. So January, I'm praying that this is where he now knows the players that are going to be, that have that mentality to play for Tottenham. And I think that's what he's now clocking now. And hopefully January, he gets to be able to sort that out. And then we can see it a little bit more better, I guess. But I think 18 months, I think that's a safe option, and I think that's how everyone is going to see that in the future for football. Like, it's like a loan, isn't it? And it's the same with like buying players. I think that's just the safest option. I think that's where Levy is quite good in that way. We need to see how it works out for Conte with Tottenham, because in my opinion, Conte is the manager for Spurs, but at the same time, Tottenham is that club that could wreck him as well. So, yeah.
Very good point. I think we did a show probably sometime in close season, July time, when we were looking for our manager. We had all the ups and downs of the X amount of days we were searching. We did a show on Conte. At the time, I wasn't quite sure if he was going to be the right fit, only because of the fact that I knew we had so much to kind of do. We just come off the back of, Jose Mourinho. I guess people can kind of compare them. They're not the same managers, but in terms of what their effect is, they come in, they get things going, and they leave. I thought that maybe Conte wasn't quite the right fit at the time. Obviously, since then, the Ryan Mason saga, the Nuno saga. I'll come to you then, Sid. Firstly, is this the right fit for Spurs? And if so, What do you think he can achieve in that time?
Oof, good question. Let me just
Thank you,
quickly, in terms of the contract, I think Daniel Levy must have been chatting to the owners of EE and all the phone companies and Virgin and all them lot, because the 18-month contract, everyone seems to be doing this 18-month contract now, aren't they? So they're probably hoping that he doesn't ask for an upgrade, because they're going to turn around and say, no, I ain't going to give you an upgrade. But in terms of, is he the right manager for Spurs? I think he is. I think, you know what, out of everything that was out there, if they want to, I'm going to say it, but everyone's going to laugh at me, but I'm going to say, if they wanted to start winning trophies again and try and get them trophies in the cabinet that's been gathering dust, then if there's one man that can do it, it's Conte. He's got the pedigree, he's got the experience, he's been there, he's done it. And I think, like Zandis and Sean has said, he's been to clubs on instant success within the first season. Some of them he's done it in the second season. Won the league for Chelsea in his first season. So, yes, why not? Okay, we haven't got the same kind of players, but if he's given the time, and 18 months, I think could be long enough, may not be long enough. This will depend on whether he gets backed by Daniel Levy, whether he gets peed off with the players, and if he can't get the players in that he wants and get rid of the players that he doesn't want. And if they all sing from the same hymn book, then I can see him extending that 18-month contract.
So you're saying that there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle that you just said there. You've got to get rid of players, you've got to get players in, you've got to bed players out. He's got, effectively, if he was to stay for the length of contract, he's got 3 transfer windows, 2 of which are January transfer windows, only one summer one. So there's a lot of work. We know notoriously you don't always get the best players in January. So for 2 of those windows, he ain't going to get the choice that he might want for summertime. There's a number of free transfer players are being available in June, but there's going to be a scramble for those players. Are we, and I'll come to you, Mark, are we in a position as Spurs, even with Conte as the gravitas, the manager that's going to, attract players, do we have enough clout to get the players that he might want? And if so, what type of players do you think he's going to be going for now?
First of all, I do think he's got the clout to get the players that he wants. Him and Paratici, I think their names sort of speak for themselves. Like, they can get the top caliber of players that we need. I mean, you only have to look at the players that they brought in at Inter. You've got the players that Conte brought in at Chelsea. I know Paratici wasn't at Chelsea, but Conte still got some top quality players in. I don't think we have. I don't think there's a worry in terms of attracting top level players. I think it'll be a case of what players are available. Like, we're looking at January straight away, so I think it's a case of what players are available in January that would fancy a move across. And I mean, we've just seen recently that Paratici is involved in some sort of fraud investigation with the Italian league, with Juventus, isn't it?
Last thing we need is our bloody sporting director to go to jail, if he does.
This is it. Whether he goes to jail or not, I suppose that's not but I wonder if that will have any effect on us attracting players, but able to actually sign any players, and if that's all in the air, and it depends on Paratici's involvement in that dispute or investigation. But has he got enough time? That's the question, to do what he wants to do. 18 months.
It's not a long time. That's my concern. It's not a long time, considering, like I said before, two of them bloody transfer windows are January ones. So he's got a lot to do. And summertime, I don't know.
I think 18 months is sufficient time in order to get his philosophy, his ideas across, how he wants the team to play, from the tactical perspective, the philosophy he wants to implement within the squad, whether it be on the pitch and whatever he wants the players to abide to off the pitch. 18 months is enough time for that. It's just whether 18 months is enough time to get the players that he wants in the club. And when we look at, we have to just look at the Moura game. I think that game tells him that he's got potentially a bigger job in his hands than he may first thought. Because when you look on paper, our squad is strong. Our team on paper is strong. Our 26 man squad that we've got on paper, it does look strong. However, when you put him on the pitch, it's a completely different ballgame.
I was going to say.
And that's what I think may have taken Conte back, maybe by surprise. Because I think he probably remembers and he recognises probably a lot of these players that are in the Spurs squad from his time either at Inter Milan or at Juventus or at Chelsea. He probably recognises a lot of these players because a lot of them are well-known footballers. They're international footballers, so he's gonna know a bit about them all. But I think when you get up and close and you're seeing them day in, day out, not just from their just not from just the physical side of things, but from the mental side, I think he's probably taking them back a little bit, and he's probably thinking, shit, I've got quite a bit of work to do here.
I think he said more than shit after that Moura game. I was going to come to you, Zandes. What do you think he thought? Wait, scrap that. I'm going to read this super chat first, then I'll come back to you. So Josh, the Tottenham guy, thank you very much, Josh, for your super chat. Big up Paxton Road. Much love to you all. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you for that. Zandes, what do you think he was thinking after that Moura game? Because he looked like a man that was visibly hurt. Like it looked like his whole soul was hurt when he was sat in front of the camera afterwards. And I looked at him and thought, this guy's either thinking to himself, what the F am I doing here? Or shit, some of these players here now that just, I don't know what, sometimes I don't know what was actually going, but it looked like it was scary to me. It wasn't quite Nuno scary in terms of his interviews, but it was scary enough to make me think, right, this guy knows there's a lot of work. What do you think was going through his head?
I'll tell you what, he probably told Paratici to link the bloody thing so he could get out of Tottenham. But but honestly, to be honest, I actually shut off the game because I couldn't handle it anymore. And I think, I'm not watching this. And I was actually quite relieved that even the game got called off this weekend because I felt I didn't want my weekend ruined. But yeah, in all honesty, when I saw his interview afterwards, I actually really liked what he said because he was not sugarcoating like other managers would have done. And I think this is what is a real big step up for Tottenham, is the fact that this manager knows exactly what the problem is, and he knows that this is what he's got to, fix. So to me, I see that as a good thing because, yeah, like with all these other managers, they all come in with all these excuses and just like, oh yeah, these players are good. Yes, they're not. At the end of the day, they're not. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. The problem is this team is just not got the mentality to win, and a lot of them I don't even think want to play for Tottenham. So go. That's what has to happen in January, I'm afraid. And big names like Harry Kane, he's got to go if you don't have the mentality to be playing for this club anymore. Like, it's done. You need to move on now. So that's my opinion on it. And yeah, hopefully this Levy will allow Conte to actually do the job. So yeah. So
Sean, based on what Christina's just said, because of the amount of play, because that Moura game was very telling. I think we could all kind of see, there were some players that just we know some of them are not good enough, but there was that lack of effort, that lack of desire against a tier 5 team, whatever. Do you think then with the players that's already in the squad, the players that they've got to get out, the players that they've got to get in, the players they've got to get up to speed, is it realistic in 18 months that we could be challenging, and what will we be challenging for within the time that he's got?
Well, I certainly think that domestic cups should be on the agenda. I'm not necessarily sure that a league title is on the horizon. Although I'd love to be doing that once again. But I think we, as I said earlier, I don't think that it's the timing issue. It's just the fact that, as Mike was alluding to, that on paper our squad is strong. Well, the trouble is we play on grass, not on paper, and I think that they were strong in history. But I mean, how long is it since Delhi was strong? How long was it since Winks was strong? These are still players that are scuttling about, still earning a wage, quite comfortable.
They're wage thieves, mate.
Way. Huh?
They're wage thieves.
People have said that. I think it's the pruning is probably the most important thing in January, not necessarily the acquisitions. But Paratici has got a great way of dealing with free transfers. He's got a great history in that. And of course, come January, players overseas can speak to Tottenham and, who are in the last year of their contract. So I think we could see some very good players coming in the summer, but we actually sign them in January. That gives me some hope for that.
He has to get players in January, though. We can't go a season without reinforcements.
We can't go to summertime without reinforcements. There's no chance.
He's got to sort that back line out, because although Davies is playing well, he's not good enough. Sanchez, he shouldn't be wearing he shouldn't wear the Tottenham colours ever again. Like,
the thing in that Mirror game, Mike, though, is that I was screaming it from like 2 minutes in. If he'd swapped Rodon and Sanchez about,
I agree. Yeah.
We would not have had half the problems that we did in the end. There's no way we would have conceded the first goal for a start. No, and that was ridiculous that Rodon was put in the middle. He doesn't play in the middle for Wales. He plays on one of the flanks in the back three. And if he was playing on the left-hand side, he's a right-footed player who can actually play the left centre back. His balance, he takes the ball on the turn.
Yeah, he played that for Swansea.
I agree.
Yeah, so I think that was probably one thing I would probably sort of say to Conte. What the F were you doing, putting those two in those positions? I mean, it was like night and day, where you could see it as soon as the match kicked off. This is not the right place for Sanchez.
Maybe it was a thing that he was doing. I don't know, because sometimes you get these. Maybe he's put these players out to see how they can cope under pressure. Because if you think about it, playing on the left-hand side against NS Moura should not really be a massive challenge to a top-level Premier League player as Sanchez, international, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying it was the right decision. As you say, Mike, as a one-off game, it shouldn't be, but it was.
But interestingly enough, Sam, Sanchez was picked for Sunday for the game that never happened. And he would have played on the right.
He would have definitely.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think he's I don't think he's quite on the naughty step like Jose would have done. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have to cut his cloth. Yeah, we will need players in, but that's what finances.
100%. Let me just get to a couple of these super chats. Sorry, Sean. Just want to get these one so we can move on. Bob Spur, thank you very much for the super chat. Nice to see some sex appeal and beauty finally on the show. You definitely have to, Sean, back. Nice to see Sean. Nice to see Christina on too. Big love, Pete. Thank you very much for that. And to just shout out to the two new members as well. Cuba99, thank you very much for becoming a member. There's memberships available to others out there who are not members. And also Josh, the Tottenham guy. Again, thank you very much for becoming a member of Paxton Road TV.
Cuba's put out another message as well, mate. Have you seen Cuba's other message? He's saying big up to SUBSRCRIBE TV. It's Bob's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Bob.
Happy 55th, mate. He's going to love me for that.
He's going to love you for that one. Let me just actually get to Cuba's shout out. Again, thank you very much for the super chat, Cuba. Big up SUBSRCRIBE TV. It's Bob's birthday today. So we're going to give Bob big love on that one. 100%. Right then. Okay, let's us move on to the next part of the show then. Still with the same, obviously, topic. Time to rebuild or not to rebuild. I try and do these things, little plays on words. I think I'm a genius at times, but I know I'm not, but I think I am. That's the main thing. I think I am.
A legend in his lunch hour.
Right, so let's start with you, Sid. I've got a question written down here. What confidence do you have that Conte, Paratici, and Hitchin will get the playing staff right over the next 2 to 3 transfer windows? Because the reason I'm saying that is there appeared to be a bit of a sea change in the summertime. We looked like we were going for a slightly younger type of player, young with potential, as opposed to maybe the older, experienced player. Conte's coming. A lot of people have said that Conte wants to have ready-made people available and ready to go in and win, because he's won a lot of the places he's won in the first season. How confident are you that we're going to get the playing staff right between these three?
Like we've said, I think we've said this many times before, haven't we? 18 months, 3 windows. January windows are going to be the difficult ones because nobody's going to be willing to sell the players that we'll probably want. All the players that are going to be available are going to be the ones on free transfers, the ones that want to get out of the clubs, like the Jesse Lingards, players like that. Other potential players that we want, if we want them in January, they're going to put the prices up. But I have, and this is for Mr. Fox, I got a feeling, because he keeps coming back with that, doesn't he? But I got a feeling that he will, I think he's now realised what deadwood we've got, and some of them players that we've mentioned for the last couple of weeks are just not good enough to wear that shirt. And starting in January, I think he has already got, I believe he's got a list made up already of the players that he wants. Whether we get them, Vlahovic is one, but I'm hearing today now that they're not even contemplating now. They've decided to keep him till the summer because they want a bidding war and they want more money. So unless we cough up 75, 80 million, then we might get him in January. But apparently, let's see what happens. If they want a bidding war, then it's going to be a problem. Then that means, who do we then go for? Because there's not going to be somebody that's going to be in Conte's long-term plans that he's going to get in January, unless he does a quick fix. And there's not going to be many strikers, number 1, and number 10, playmakers. Then you got playmakers, then you're going to look like players like Coutinho or people like that. So that the answer to your question, I believe, yes, they between the three of them, they've got it in them to go and get the players that he needs, he wants. But the biggest question, which everybody knows the question, and the answer to that is Daniel Levy going to be prepared to part with 70, 80, 90 million, not only on one player, it may have to be 2 or 3 players. And that's the biggest question. But I think 18 months, they've got enough time to get it right, starting from January, because now they've seen the list and it's right. He's gone. So in the background, I think they're working on the replacements.
So I'll ask Mike then. Do you think he's going to, right? There's a couple of parts to this I want to do. So there was a poll. I put out a poll onto our Twitter page, our YouTube page, asking, what do we need in January mostly? Is it going to be a centre-back? Is it going to be a full-back stroke wing-back? Is it going to be a striker? Is it a creative midfielder, or all of the above? I think the winning percentage, it was in the high 40s, was all of the above, which suggests to me that we feel, as Spurs fans, that we don't just need 1 or 2 players. We might need 3 or 4 players in January. Given our history of buying a number of players all at once, not being very successful, how can we get 3 or 4 players in and also have to get certain players out? What's going to need to happen to get the players out firstly before we can get some in? Is that the way you think it's going to have to work? Or are we just going to spend this money regardless? Because I'm not quite sure about that either. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, firstly, to get the players out that we want out, it's going to take a miracle. Let's be honest, when you see any manager that's going to see Doherty playing for Spurs, there's not going to be anyone that's going to be like, yeah, he's the man for me. I want him on my right flank, tearing it up and down the wing for my football team. Unless they're playing Championship or Division, I wouldn't even pick him for a Divi 1 or Divi 2 side. I wouldn't have him in my. I wouldn't.
His head's gone.
He shouldn't be.
Mike's head's gone. Your head's gone now, Mike. You're on Doherty's case now.
Mate, it's going to take a miracle, something short of a miracle, for someone to come in for Doherty. And that's the same with, like, you look at Ali. Who's going to want to sign Ali when his attitude just doesn't? I don't think he's. I think he's fallen out of love of the game, and that's why I don't think no one's been able to get a tune out of him. I think he's too interested in off the field activities than on the field. But realistically, if we could get 3 players out and 3 players in January, I would say that's a good January transfer window. I'd love 4 players in, but I think that's asking for again, nothing short of a miracle to get 4 players in. I think if I was to take 3 players, I would go for 2. I'd go 2 centre backs, and I'd go for a goal scoring right winger. Who that would be, though, that's the $1 million question. Because again, how many right wingers who know where the back of the net is available? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Who's going to create them for? Who's going to create though? That's the problem.
I think we've got. The thing is, I think we've got enough central midfielders to offer that creativity. I think Ndombele is the number 10 for Spurs. We haven't seen what Lo Celso can do under Conte yet, so that'd be interesting. But I don't think centre midfield. I would.
Mike,
I'd rather get a right winger in.
I was going to say, is your patience not wearing thin though for some of these players like Ndombele, Lo Celso, Ali, Winks, Sanchez, Doherty? We can go on. There's quite a few that we've had a lot of chance. Do we not think, that these players have had enough opportunities to maybe prove themselves?
But there's players that have had opportunities, or they might be frustrating us, but they have talent, and that's down to Conte to get that out of them and try and get a tune out of them and get them firing and playing the way he wants. And that's why I think Ndombele, although there's been a lot of criticism about him, I think he's been kept on the training field rather than sort of playing or starting matches, because I think it's the same situation as he had with Eriksen when Eriksen went to Inter. He didn't play him for the first half of the season. He wanted Eriksen to play and to learn how Conte wanted him to play, and then it took him about half a season. He got sort of let loose on the pitch, starting games, and he was playing quite well. So I think that might be a little bit sort of what he's wanting to do with Ndombele. That's just my opinion, but again. Yeah, I mean, going back to sort of Sid saying creativity, I think we've got players that can create the creativity that we need. But when you look at the right wing, I think that's an issue more so than probably in the centre of the park. And as I say, 2 centre backs, it's a must.
The problem, we've not scored a lot of goals, and I'll come back to you, Christina, and I'm going to come Sean first. Do you think then that Conte is going to, because of the fact we've got 9 games in December, starting from the game on Thursday against Brentford. It's a lot of games to play before we even get to the January transfer. So there is a number of games we played. Seeing the attitude of some of these players, as we mentioned about on Thursday, do you think that he's maybe going to give an opportunity to some of the youngsters? But before you answer that, Sean, let me just read out the super chat from Cuba99. There was no option for chairman on your poll. I didn't put a chairman to be removed on the poll. You're quite right, Cuba. Thank you for pointing that out. I hope that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I know what you're saying. I understand. So, sorry, coming back to you, Sean. Youngsters in our squad, we've got a few that are knocking about. Do you think we're going to see any of them get an opportunity over the next month or so?
Maybe with the churn of games, we might get to see some of the youngsters. I would love to see Harvey White get a chance, for example, in some of the the less vital games. I'm keeping away from the likes of Liverpool, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, Conte seems to. I think mistakenly, we got the impression that Conte tends to go for experience over youth, but that's not necessarily the case. Look at Barella and the players he had at Inter; they're all in their early 20s. So he does develop young players as well. It's just a question of his assessment of their quality. I mean, certainly the under 23s are doing good, putting up good numbers. Unlike Mike, I lost it with Ndombele on Thursday. If there's ever a team that someone like Ndombele should dominate, it's NS Mura. I'm sorry, he didn't lift a finger. Didn't lift a finger for me. And I never thought I'd say this, but if Ndombele can go in January, he'll go with my blessing. I'm absolutely shocked at his level of professionalism in that game. He was dreadful.
In that game, he wasn't good. I must admit. And the problem that we've got with Ndombele is it seems that it's not just one manager that's come in and has some doubts about it. We all know his talent, and if we looked at it as an individual player, we can see he's really, really talented. But there is just something that's not quite clicking for him. It's not quite clicking for any manager that
because they don't know where to play him. No one knows where to play him. When he's played in the number 10. He's played well. He has played well. When he plays in that sort of double pivot in front of the back, he doesn't have a great game because
that's where he played at Lyon.
He played there.
He played deeper in Lyon.
He was box to box at Lyon.
But then you're comparing two different leagues. You're comparing the French league to the Premier League, and they're just.
Well, no, I'm comparing him on his Champions League match against Manchester City, who I believe are in the same league as us.
Yeah, but
he was fantastic in that. That was that was the game which kind of like brought him to light for me. Certainly to see him playing. I watched him a few times after that. His talent levels are really high. Like you were saying, he was box to box. But
my other concern as well in terms of getting rid of people is Dele. I think Dele's having a bad influence on younger players around the team. I was listening to a podcast recently, and they're saying that his influence on Troy Parrott has been absolutely disgraceful. And in fact, that's why Troy Parrott was sent out to Millwall to do a bit of growing up, because he's, Dele's, too much of the party boy, and he's bringing a lot of the young players down. And I'm sorry, that
we do have to be careful with some criminal. Because there is a lot of stories that always come out of these things, and I wouldn't want to.
I find it hard to believe because
I don't want to accuse players of doing that sort of thing.
Troy's probably spent more time away.
No, I think the source was good, and I just think that, as you say, Dele's made his money, and he's quite comfortable. So he's dreadful on Thursday as well. Him and Ndombele, my God.
Let's not take our minds back that far, because as I said, I don't want to go back to that. It was a horrible experience. Christina, do you see the vision as being young players? Do you think Conte will be able to develop the young players that we've got currently, or do you not even think he's going to be looking towards the academy? Because we have got a good academy, maybe not as strong as some of the others, City, the Chelseas, etc., but it's definitely good players in there, players that maybe need an opportunity. Can you see any of these players getting an opportunity over the next few weeks?
Maybe a few, but I don't think that's Conte. I think he brings in big players. That's what he does. I can't really see him, getting the young squad in. I think it's the opposite. That's how Conte works. I don't know, because I haven't really. There is one guy who's on the under 21s. I've forgotten his name, and I'm surprised. I thought he would be getting into the first team now, but I've forgotten his name. He's been really good. Is that? Sorry, say that again.
Makandai.
I think that's him. Yeah, he won an award or something recently, didn't he? Yeah, he's been brilliant. So I was kind of hoping we might see more of him actually, but maybe a few, but not so much. I think he's all about buying players. I think Conte.
So I'm gonna. Sorry, go on, carry on. Whilst you're doing that, I'm gonna put something in the background.
Say, Sean, I disagree on the Dele thing. I'm not going to lie to you. I know my friend goes out with him, and he's cut himself from drinking now because he wants to focus on his fitness,
on his model career.
Is he cut out drinking water? Is he cut out drinking water? He needs to bloody drink water.
He's happy to go out for meals, but if they go out for a big night out, he goes home.
Oh,
Wow.
well
And
done,
that should be what
That's how it
these
should
Premier
be.
League footballers should be doing. They should just
cheers,
stay home.
cheers, Deli. Thank you for that. Thank you for not
Especially
going
now.
out.
Do you know what? For 15 years, they should live like monks, and then they can
I'm
spend
not
all their
having none of
money
this
when they
about he's
retire.
not going out drinking. He should not go out drinking. What's he want? What, on a Saturday night? He's playing on a Sunday. He's going to go out drinking. He said, no, I'm not going to do that, Frank. Get in your house. Play on your PlayStation. I'm not having none of that about the
But you don't like him playing on
because
his
he's playing on his
PlayStation.
PlayStation till AM then.
He can't win.
He can't win. He can't win. You're right.
He can't win.
Sorry.
He goes out drinking, he gets hammered. If he stays at home and plays on his PlayStation, he gets hammered. What is the man supposed to do?
I
Go!
agree.
He's supposed to go. That's what he's supposed to do. Go. Get out.
Give him a break.
If he could handle it, I mean, I haven't got a problem if he was drinking and performing. I wouldn't have an issue because go back. Some of our best players, Paul Gascoigne, like to drink. I mean,
different era.
Of course it is,
Mike.
but they could turn up hammered, half cut, probably still drunk and perform, and we wouldn't even know any difference, Sean. But Delhi,
I think we did when we saw them blowing after 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Zanders, can you tell Delhi I'm gonna have a board on Thursday and on Saturday to say I'm your favourite. Can I have your shirt, please? Because everyone else seems to be getting.
I love Delhi. I always I protect that guy so much. It's ridiculous.
Can I ask a question? When did he say that he started this non-drinking thing? When was it?
So this was so my friend, he went out with him. It was only like a couple of months ago, but there was all like Chilwell was there.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? What the F was he doing for the other bloody 3 years then? Huh? What was he doing?
Playing PlayStation.
Drinking there. I'm not having this drinking thing with Dele Alli. Sorry, I've just had it with him. Now the show's not about him, but I've had it. I've just had it. I can't deal with players.
I mean, the show's about Conte. Conte's going to make that decision.
He has to. He's got to make a big decision. Right. Let me just show you some stats.
And if he says go, I'm happy with that.
I was trying to bring up some stats, and then Xander threw that curveball, and it sent me off into a spin. And I don't know what, I was lost for a little bit.
Nice one, Xander. Well done.
I'm going to put it back up here anyway. Right, so I'll read this out for people that are listening on podcast. There are podcasts, but specifically Spotify Anchor. Antonio Conte's profile. He's 52, born 31st of July 1969 in Lecce. Is that how it's pronounced in Italy? Lecce. Lecce began his playing career at Lecce in 1985. Juventus player from 1991 to 2004, won 5 titles there. UEFA Cup in 93 and Champions League in 96 as a player. 20 caps for Italy. Runners-up in the 1994 World Cup and Euro 2000. His coaching career started as an assistant at Siena in 2005. Spells at Arezzo, Bari and Atalanta. Returned to Juve in 2011, won the title in his first season, completed the campaign unbeaten, equaling the club record 28-match unbeaten run, completed a hat-trick of titles with success in 2012 and 2013, amassed a record 102 points with Juventus, took charge of the Italian national team 2014, led them to the quarterfinals of the Euros in 2016, returned to club football at Chelsea in 2016, again, won the title in his first season, record of 30 wins in 38 matches in that season, including 13 straight victories. Then followed that up by winning the FA Cup in 2009 and moved to Inter in 2019, finished second in his first season and reached the final of the Europa League and then guided into their first title in 11 years as of last season. So
it's not bad CV.
What have I missed? What have I missed, Sid?
21-22 finished his career at Spurs.
Sid. Sid. I was getting all serious there for a minute. I really was. I'll just go on to his managerial career. I'm not going to read all of this out. But as you probably can see, it's the days in charge which is my, not concern, but certainly shows the approach to what his management is. He comes in, he'll do something up to about 2 years or just over 2 years, and then he's gone. So he likes to get almost immediate success. Some of his earlier times at Arezzo, we can probably discount that was Sierra B. But certainly from Juve upwards, we can see just over a year and a half, close to 2 years, just over 2 years at Inter Milan, 28 days for Spurs. Do we think we're going to see that close to 700 and something days, or might that only be 35 days? Because if I was him, it might be 35 days based on that Mura result. So I'm just looking at his stats, his managerial career. Does it suggest to you that he's here for the long haul? Mike, is it going to be a long-term appointment, or is this literally Daniel Levy rolling the dice, seeing if he can get him to win something, anything now? What's your thoughts on that?
I think as long as there's progression, like when I say progression, I mean progression insofar as he's building a squad that he's satisfied with, that he feels can challenge for silverware, top four, etc. And as long as the team's progressing on the field in getting the results, etc., I think he'll be here for longer than the 18 months. I think it'd have to take something drastic for him to like leave between now and when his contract's due. I personally don't. Even if we lost another few games against the likes of the Muras of this world, I don't think he's going to leave. He's on too much money. Why would he leave? You wouldn't leave for the amount of money he's getting each year. You'd just put the results down to, I don't know, down to one of those things maybe. But I think as long as there's progression off the field in terms of transfer activities, shipping out the players that he wants to get out, bring the players that he wants in, get the results on the pitch, and as I say, as long as there's progression on and off, I think he'll be here longer than the 18 months.
Interesting. So again, I'll come to you, Sid. What do you take from that managerial career? He's been at a few places. Obviously, he's comfortable in Italy. Came to Chelsea, but his career has been spent primarily at Italy. Has come back to the Premier League with Spurs. We certainly don't spend Abramovich type money. So, what could have been said to him to think, yeah, I'll take this job? What was said to him?
Paratici must have got some golden words for him to convince him. I think the 20 million, no matter what people
that
say,
helps. That helps.
Yeah, it doesn't help. I think it does help. And he's probably thinking, you know what? I've been at Spurs, at Chelsea. I've seen how Spurs are supposedly one of the big clubs. And if I can go in there and I can do a job, my CV is going to be even better because not a lot of people have gone into Spurs.
Can I just ask it? Just explain to me what doing a job is. I just want to know. I'm not asking. I'm not being facetious. I just want to know because managers come and say, I'm going to do a job. I can do a job. I could go into Spurs now and do a job. It might not be a successful job, but I could certainly go in and do one. I could coach them players. They might not listen to me. What's the job? So,
doing the job is getting in there, getting rid of the deadwood, the players that have been at Spurs for years, earning a wage and not doing anything. If you can go in there and get rid of them players, getting decent players that want to play, not only decent players getting them in, get players that want to play for the badge, get them playing, get the fans happy and play. I know there's no such thing, play the Tottenham way. There isn't a way. Get the fans back on their back, right? And if he wins a trophy, that's doing a job because we've not seen that many trophies at Spurs. So winning a trophy is doing a job. Getting the team playing, getting to a consistent level where they're winning week in, week out, not going to the likes of Mora and places like that, getting beat, not going to places where you're 2-3-0 up and then ending up hanging on to a draw. If we can get in there, get them playing the way he wants them to play, his philosophy, his style, get the fitness levels up, and they go out every single game giving 100%, that's what you call doing a job. And if he can do that in 18 months, and then whether he stays or not, he's going to be content and happy to say, I went to Tottenham and I did what the last 4 or 5 managers couldn't get. And the biggest thing doing a job is getting Daniel Levy to spend money out of his pocket. If he can do that as well.
Sure, that's going above and beyond, isn't it?
Well, he's got 18 months to do it, hasn't he? And that's all achievable.
I like that job. That was really good. For doing a job, I will say to you, that's what I like to hear. You should be manager. That's the sort of shit I want to hear from my manager.
Am I wrong in saying that is not achievable in 18 months?
Oh, I like that.
Somebody like him with his pedigree.
No, I like that. I like it. I like it.
I like it. No, I like it, but I think that's I think it's easier said than done, and that's why I think it's a little bit above. I just think it's going above and beyond for us as a club. It's what we expect, but
of all the managers out there, if there's anyone I think he's the one, because he's got that attitude where he's going to go in there and say, "Yo, you're shit. Get out. Do this. Do that. Do that." Yeah, he's going to do that. He's not going to stand on the sidelines like Nuno with his arms folded and just going, "Oh, I'm in Maldives. I'm on holiday." Okay, he's not. We've already seen this with him. Who has ever called Harry Kane over to the touchline and said, "Do this, do this, do that"? I haven't seen anyone in a few years I've been at Spurs. I've never seen one manager call Harry Kane over when the things are not going right and telling him, "Go and do this, go and get them lot to go and do that." So I think as
well, he's like even pointed out their fitness, because I used to actually think a lot of our players looked a bit overweight at one point. And I think as well, the fact that he's even pointed that out, I mean, ignore the ketchup and mayonnaise situation, but still at the same time, you know, he's noticed that, because I always thought they don't look healthy, like they don't look up to scratch, our players.
They don't look healthy, please.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. We're talking about our professional footballers here. Sorry, I know it was a misuse of words, but I agree with you. They didn't look healthy at times. They didn't look healthy.
The thing is, why is Levy backing Conte when he could have backed Jose?
Because I think Conte, he's probably told him, "Mate, I'm mafia. You don't give me what I want, I'm coming for you." Simple as, guns blazing, yeah? And he's probably seen the attitude. Mourinho probably throws his toys at the pram and then sits down. Conte's probably one of them that's just
what?
But Jose's probably throwing his toys out the pram, because he's just like, how are you expecting me to do anything with this shit that I've got here? Like,
Jose doesn't have henchmen like how Antonio Conte's got henchmen.
Exactly.
He's told Daniel Levy, "Sort this out, or one of them's going to visit you." That's all he had to do. Jose didn't have that sort of visiting rights for people. No. So, that's what I think anyway. I'm going to come to
I wonder whether the bromance between Levy and Mourinho went sour quite quickly, because I remember you remember the Amazon documentary when we beat Burnley 5-0. I remember there was that scene with Levy and Mourinho, and Levy was crowing about how attacking we'd been when we won the game, and like Mourinho just kind of like looked at him like, "What? So what?" You know, it's like it wasn't important to him. And I wonder whether that was kind of like the first light bulb. Yeah, you know, because Levy, you know, I do think he is a Spurs fan, and he thinks Spurs should play in a certain way. I just don't think he's got the wherewithal to actually build a squad, and hopefully that's why he's brought in Paratici, and Paratici has brought Conte. I just think Jose was yesterday's man, and I think it became quite clear by the end that he was never going to do great bits with us. I'm afraid. I don't even think he would have won that final, much as people seem to think that he would have done. I can't see it.
Well, we'll never know that. Probably, well, definitely we'll never know that.
No,
I just think it would have been a better option to keep him for the final, at least. But there must have been something behind that. I can't see that being a real decision that you look back and think that was the right decision to make. Because even if it had to do with money or finances or the rest of it, there was still an opportunity to win a cup with a manager that wins cups. So it didn't make any sense. It really didn't.
Looking back over Conte's career, though, I would say that there's always been extenuating circumstances why he's left clubs. I mean, Inter, he left when he was told that he had to sell his strikers. You know, because the owners turned around and said, "Yeah." So he said, "Well, what the hell are you trying to do? I've just won you the league, and you're now asking me to sell the people that were responsible for winning the league." You know, so I can understand that. That's He didn't want to see a decline, and it was like, and I'm sure at Juventus, I think he just felt that the club had gone as far as it could, and he was offered the Italy job, and he took a really average Italian squad deep into a Euros.
Yeah, he did.
So I think, I'm confident that Conte will do the job at our place. Whether we get anything this year, I'm not sure. In terms of silverware, I'm not sure. But certainly next year, I would.
Might be a good segue. It might be a good segue because this is the last part Okay, so the last part, I'll start with you, Christine, on this one, the tipping point. What could force Conte to down tools and just walk? We've seen him do it. I guess we've seen him do that in terms of, the last role that Inter is mentioned, because he didn't get exactly what he wanted, or they were going to do things that he didn't want to happen. What could force him to just say, you know what, I'm done here?
Easy. Levy.
Expand.
Easy. But no, yeah, if he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to walk out. And that's what I reckon, if January, if that comes and he doesn't get what he wants, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually doesn't make it the whole season. And I think as well, Paratici would probably be joining with him. But I think, like we just spoke about, I think Levy knows what, this is now. So that's why I'm kind of hoping that this is going to change his mind. I'm praying, like he's going to be a bit scared, shall I say? They're going to have a bit more control over than like the last managers that we've had. That's the thing with Conte. I think he has got more control. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. If he just doesn't get what he wants, see you later. I'm not going to be able to do it, basically.
Mike, do you think he would walk before the end of the season?
Nah, not a chance in hell. I honestly believe that as well. I don't think he'll. I don't think he will leave before his 18 months is up. Because and the reason I think that is because as long as Paratici's there, they have some powers of persuasion, I believe, over Levy. It takes something dramatic to go wrong. Let's not forget he's getting paid what, 10 million? What is it? 10 million a
20
season?
Million.
Is it 20 million? What, a season?
So he's only there
for 18 months.
I don't know how true those figures are, but either way, he's getting paid a shed load of money.
So is Mourinho.
Yeah, but I think the difference is Conte's got Paratici, and those two they're almost like a tag team, aren't they? Wherever Conte's been, generally Paratici's been in or around that same club, and vice versa. Paratici's gone somewhere, and he's generally looked to, apart from Chelsea, but he's generally brought in.
He wasn't at Inter,
Conte, and he wasn't at Inter, but they seem to be very close. I think that working relationship will bode well for Conte and his sort of time at Spurs. I honestly don't think he'll go anywhere. I think he'll at the very least he'll see out the 18 months with Spurs.
Do you see him being there for next season, Sean? And if so, what is going to make him stay? Is it just a case of bringing in the players that he wants, spending the money, or does there need to be other changes around the club? Because I'm of the opinion that we don't have the right mentality within the club. The club in itself are not geared up as serial winners, so we're not used to winning. And when you're not used to winning, it's always difficult to get yourself over that line. Once you've done it before, you can always fall back on that experience. We've won this, lads. We've done this before. Let's win it again, as you see with all those big teams. So again, is it going to be just players he needs to bring in, or is there more outside of just the playing staff that he needs to change at Spurs?
Well, I think his strength is building that mentality. Inter were serial underachievers until he went there. So I think he will bring the mentality. That's what we want him as a coach. I think he will be here. He'll do the 18 months at least, and it may well depend on, as you say, recruitment. Let's not get away from it. He has managed to get bargains as well. He doesn't necessarily shop at Harrods all the time. He may need to do a bit more of that for Tottenham, because we've got such a lack of depth in our squad as recent games have shown. But I think I think as long as we get the players he wants, and that doesn't necessarily mean mega bucks, but there may well be, there might be the odd £90 million striker. But yeah, I think I think he'll certainly see out his 18 months. It may depend on how he feels at the end of that 18 months, whether he stays on for the extra year. I'm hoping he will change the mentality, because, and what will bring that mentality about will be that players start seeing that we get results. That was why Pochettino was able to convince these players, because they started getting results in the end.
I was going to ask Mike then. Mike, what is there going to be some sort of crossroads, loggerheads with Levy and the board in terms of monies to go and spend? Because again, going back historically, and it's not like we haven't spent money, we just haven't spent money wisely. But then we haven't done the £100 million player or the 80 million. We've sold players at that sort of value, but we've never gone out and bought. I think our highest transfer fee is Ndombele at 55 million. If Vlahovic is quoted at being 80 million, do you think we're going to go out and get that player for him?
That would all depend on what happens with Harry Kane.
So is it dependent on Kane staying?
I don't see why we would. I mean, unless Conte plays, like, changes it from 3-4-3 to, and he plays a more 3-4, maybe 1, and then the 2 up top. As Vlahovic and Kane as a 2 up top. But then you're losing Son. Yeah, it's a lot of money for a player of his quality to sit on the bench. And would Vlahovic come to Spurs knowing that, like, thinking, if I'm going to be sat on the bench, if you're going, I don't know. If he's coming, then that to me might signal goodbye Harry Kane, unless there's a tweak in formation that Conte wants, and he's thinking, I'm going to go 3-4-1-2. That's the formation I want to do, and that's the 2 up front. I mean, if those 2 up front, blimey, that would be that'd be quite interesting to see how that would work out, especially if you had the likes of maybe Son reverting into a number 10 role, and all of a sudden those 3 up front would be very interesting. But I think if we get another striker, there'd have to be question marks over what happens with Harry Kane. But when you listen to Conte, he's forever praising Harry Kane. He keeps saying it's down to me to fight, like to work out how to get Harry firing again. So to me, that sounds like he doesn't want Harry Kane to go. And whenever you listen to Conte, he's always saying Kane's one of the best strikers in the world. So it doesn't sound like a man that's sort of ready to give up on him yet.
It's interesting. Sid, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think there's a point where, Conte might get to, and as I said, this is quite a tough month that we've got of games. We then come to January. Let's say he doesn't get the player, the Vlahovic's, the Kessies, the players that we've been touted, because you're going to be doing the old transfer for that month of January. So it's going to be interesting what players that you think we're going to get. If he doesn't get them players, do you see him saying at the end of January, I'm gone, all he see out the season? Or what? How do you see his mind being in terms of if he doesn't get what he wants? Because everybody keeps saying Conte has to get what he wants to achieve. He has to get this. He has to get that. I'm a bit, does he have to get exactly what, or does he have to have a style of playing? Does he have to try and at least improve the players that are there? Get rid of some of these players that you can clearly see are not wanting to play for the club, as opposed to just all this buying. We are short of players, but if he doesn't get what he wants in that circumstances, what do you see Conte doing?
He's obviously given a list of players that he wants, right? He's probably in his deep down, he sat down and he's probably thought, right, this is who I want, this is who I want. January is going to be a very hard window for, that's my opinion, on him to get his number 1 targets, because like we've said and we've discussed many times, a lot of clubs are not willing to sell players in January. Now, Vlahovic, everyone keeps going on about it, that it's happening, it's not happening, 75 you can have him. I've read today that they want to have a bidding war in the summer, and they're going to hold on to him till the summer, and then that's when the likes of City, United, and all them lot, and then prices is just going to go up and up, because I think they're doing a stats thing on him every week now, where they're going to start writing down all his stats and publishing them. So if that's the kind of targets he's going for, then unfortunately he's probably not going to get them. Now, if he's
the players become available in summer though, Sid?
Well,
I was just about to say this,
he's
Sid.
definitely coming. Apparently, he's he's gonna go in the summer. He's definitely going in the summer. January is if someone comes in with 80 million, and what you've just said, Mike, and what you've said, Sam, is he then going to be prepared to come to Spurs if we're in that kind of a sticky situation? Is he going to be wanting to come to Spurs?
Money talks.
Yeah, money talks, absolutely. But again, he'll have a list of his A-listers, and I think he'll have a list of A/B, where if he doesn't get what he wants, he'll probably be happy to get somebody in that's going to do a job more than some of the players here now at the moment, because we've already said 4 or 5 players, and we're not getting a tune out of him. We're not going to get a tune out of him. So if he can get someone that just comes in and does a job till the summer, it might happen. I mean, going back to what you said before, Sam, with him, whether he stays or not, it's going to be like what everyone's Christmas is going to be. If everyone's going to be stuffing a turkey and getting good Christmas presents, they're going to be happy. If Spurs are getting stuffed and he doesn't get his presents, then he'll walk.
Nah, I don't think he will sit. Like, just
Mike, so let me just read this comment. So Kuva99, thank you very much. Super generous for this one. If Conte is pressured to walk the tightrope and play clowns like Dele and Winks in the Tottenham Hotspur circus, instead of roll up new players, and he'll do Billy's smart thing and walk away. Do you agree with that, Mike?
I kind of just, I do to a certain degree. However, I don't think Conte's the type of manager that will be pressured into playing players. I don't think that's Conte. I think Conte is very much look at my CV and see what I've won. I can't see who's going to force Conte to say no. You've got to play Winks. You've got to play Dele. I don't even think Levy would dare sort of mention it. I think he's very much leave Paratici and Conte to doing the stuff on the pitch, and I think I just don't see how Conte would be pressured to play in anyone he didn't want. I honestly can't see it. But going back to Sid's point quickly, I think January if anything, there's bargains to be had, because there's quite a few players in the January or that would be up in the January market for sale, whereby we could get a bargain rather than the clubs lose them as a freebie in the summer, like Kessie, for example.
Yeah,
he goes in the summer. He's already said he wants to leave in the summer. So what's to stop Spurs putting in a cheeky, I don't know, £10 million bid to say, well, here's £10 million. Tottenham will buy him now, or we'll just wait till the summer and either us or someone else will just acquire his services. So there's things like that where money will talk, and that might say, well, actually, hold a minute, instead of losing him for nothing, we can't risk that. We'll take potentially or negotiate a fee that works both for Tottenham as well as for the opposition club, whoever it might be that we're looking to buy.
So then I like Zandes, Christina. I like to call you Christina, but Zandes I like too. What would be, if you had the choice as a player and you have, I don't know, someone like Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, the big four, traditional big four. We've got Conte. What would make you decide not to go to one of them? And it can't just be about money. Is Conte a big enough pool that he's going to be able to maybe influence players to come to Spurs? Because that's my problem at the moment. Because of where we are, we haven't got, I know we can offer money, but you can't offer Champions League. We can't even offer Europa League football. So you have to be able to offer players something. Now they can come in and they can see the Hotspur way. They can see the stadium. Oh, great, fantastic. But it hasn't influenced a number of players there at the moment. So what is it that is going to make the difference between signing someone like a Vlahovic, Kessie, than go to somewhere like Man City, Man United, Chelsea, etc., etc.? What is the difference?
I mean, because obviously I've said to get rid of Harry Kane, but I think he would actually be one of the reasons why someone may actually want to join us, to have him play with him. And Conte, obviously, like, knowing him, you know, I think players would love to be managed under him. But yeah, and like obvious reasons, like you said, like the stadium, the facilities that we've got one of the best training grounds as well. And I mean, I don't know if it's just me being hopeful, but to actually maybe think like we could, if we did win a trophy, you know, It's like I actually came to Tottenham when we actually won a trophy. Like, is that a big thing to say? Like, I actually made it happen.
We shouldn't underplay the London as an option to live in London. You know, it's a major international city. Yeah.
I had this conversation as well with my dad, funny enough, because we were talking about the whole Newcastle. Like, how is that going to attract players? Like, it's just going to be money. But who's going to want to live up Newcastle? Like, you know, it's so rainy up there, but at least we're in North London, at least, you know. But,
wow. Christina, wow. Who would want to go and live in Newcastle? It's so rainy up there. Oh, my God. Any people out there watching us?
I know where I live.
It's not me. It's not me. It's her. It's her. She's down there. Where is she? She's down there.
Do you know where I live?
London, that's why I'm digging it up.
You know how to get players and people to like our channel, didn't you? Wow.
Sorry, guys. I did.
I've lived up there for a period of time, I believe.
I lived there for 2 years up in Newcastle. It weren't that bad. It was actually quite nice. I loved it, in fact. Wow.
It's not as wet.
I know what you mean about
Manchester.
It's not as wet as Manchester, no.
That's what, like, Manchester is actually like a, you know, Manchester to me is like a mini London, you know.
Oh, she's digging. She's digging. She's going to dig her way out of this one. Dig your way out.
Sounded better with my dad, so yeah.
That's quality. Let me just at least come to this super chat from the Truth Sets Us Free before we get ourselves into trouble here by Zandes. Truth Sets Us Free. Big up to the panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last part. Right. So I'm going to ask all of you this question then before we go. So, okay. Start with you, Sean, and we'll work our way around. What do you think we are going to win, if anything, this season? Not in 18 months, this season. Silence is golden.
Yeah. we're gonna win plaudits for our attacking play by the end of the season. No, I think we may win a domestic trophy. We're doing our very best to lose a trophy that is ours for the taking, which is the Europa Conference League. I can't believe that we face being eliminated.
How is that ours for the taking? It's not ours for the taking, is it? We're favourites, but that doesn't mean nothing. It's not
even make it. We might not even make it into the next round.
We're not even going to make it to the next round. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I did say that, didn't I? Yeah. That we're doing our very best to lose that. But yeah, I think if we can beat the Happy Hammers, we could go quite far in the Carabao. I'm looking forward to Sunderland dumping out our itinerant neighbours. But yeah, maybe we could win the Carabao this year.
Okay. Let's come to our guest from the Northeast who loves the Northeast. Christina, what do you think?
The fog of the time is all mine, all mine. The fog of the time is all mine.
Oh my God!
You should never mention that conversation you had with your dad. But anyway,
remember one of the most iconic football songs was sang by two of our ex-players that played.
I know Waddle and Gasser.
Hoddle and Waddle and Gazza as well, and we had Hoddle and Waddle with Diamond Lights.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, what are we going to win this season, Christina? Talk to us.
Oh, what are we going to win this season? Oh my gosh.
Silence is golden.
Sorry. Oh my gosh, what are we going? Do you know I would love for us to win FA Cup, but that's not. But I can't see that happen. If I had to pick,
yes,
I would say FA Cup would be the one I'd love for us to win.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Do you know? I'm going to say FA Cup because that's one I'd love for us to go for.
Yeah, I think we should be going for that cup. I also think we should go for the League Cup. I know we've had the final last season. I just think with that sort of trophy, it's within your grasp. It's so early in the season you can get it done, and maybe just play your strongest team because a lot of the teams don't play their strongest team. As I've talked about before,
the FA Cup as well.
100%,
yeah,
100%. But what I'm saying is, teams like Manchester City take the League Cup seriously. If they take it seriously, why does everybody else kind of think, it's not a trophy to win? They want to win it because it's silverware. So I'm of that opinion. FA Cup, League Cup, I'll take any of them ones. But FA Cup for you. Thank you. Sid?
So we've already won Manager of the Month, haven't we? And then look what happened after that.
We won.
No, in all honesty, I did say at the beginning of the season, didn't I, that one cup I think we'll win. Carabao Cup looks the likeliest one, but again, it depends on what West Ham turn out and what we turn out in 3 weeks.
More importantly, what we turn out, mate. What we turn out.
That's what I'm saying, 22nd of December. But I agree with Anders is saying. FA Cup is a good shout because it runs after January and we're going to have potentially new signings as well. So that would be a massive kind of big up for all the new players to come in and say, look, this is the biggest cup in England, FA Cup, and with Conte at the realm as well. I think FA Cup could be the one, but apart from that, I think that's the only one. I think the biggest shout we're going to have is the Carabao because we're in the quarterfinals, aren't we? So we're only like three games away from winning it. So that's probably the earliest opportunity that we're going to have to win the cup. If not, then the FA Cup. But apart from them two, that's it. To be fair, you know how Spurs are. It just depends. We could have the best team in the world, and then we just could not turn up. And a team like Moro could turn up in the FA Cup and do us over.
Yeah. I think Moljo is being very facetious when he says this. We're going to win what we usually win, the FA Cup, which might mean beat all. Anyway, that's not me who said that. That's what Moljo said. I'm more confident than that this season. I think we can definitely win an FA Cup, potentially a League Cup, if we can get over playing like we did against Moore on Thursday. Mike, what's your thoughts? What can we do this season?
No, is it what we can do and what I think
you see, you are to sneak out of these questions. That's a proper attorney answer.
I'm a politician, mate.
I'm not going to answer questions until I know exactly.
I've been watching Boris too much.
Yeah.
What I would like us to do, I'd like us to win. I'd like us to do the treble. I'd like us to win everything in sight. However, let's be realistic here. What do I think we will win? I don't think we'll win anything this season.
And that's probably more likely. Go on, expand on that. Do you not think we've got enough to win a domestic trophy? I
tell you what, I'll backtrack a little bit. Depends what we do in January. If we get rid of some of some of these players, I'm not even going to call them deadwood because they're not even deadwood. If we got rid of some of these players, you can make use of deadwood because you can light it up and make a fire from it, and it's great. You can't light these players up; they ain't burning. I don't even think they'd burn if you put them on fire. They wouldn't catch fire, mate. Recycle. You can even recycle.
They're asbestos.
Wow.
Wood rot. If we got rid of some of the players and Conte got in some of the players that he wants in January, then maybe we could do something in like a domestic cup. However, how many times have we been here before where we comes to mid-season? Yeah, we're gonna win a cup. We've said it every season for how many seasons. Realistically, I struggle with the squad that we've got, and I repeat myself, unless he gets rid of some of these players and brings in upgraded players. I mean, I wouldn't even mind. I think I saw a comment from someone saying about Jesse Lingard. I'd have Jesse Lingard in the squad over Dele Alli because I would. I'd have Jesse Lingard all day. At least he's got an end product. He's got more end product than Lucas Moura, Dele Alli. I'd have him over Doherty on the right-hand flank. Do you know what I mean? He's a better footballer than those three I've just mentioned.
We've already got Instagram, and we don't want a TikToker as well now, do we?
TikTok and Instagram. Imagine them two together. Dele and Jesse Lingard. Oh, my God.
No, you'd have to have one or the other. You couldn't have both.
You can't have both.
No, you couldn't have both of them in the club. No.
There's no chance.
One or the other.
No way. One or the other. Having both of them.
And get Lingard in. I'd be all right with Lingard because I think you saw what he did at West Ham. He was quite influential for West Ham, and I think he'd be all right at Spurs. Not as a first-team player necessarily, but certainly sit on the bench and come on and make an impact. We did it at West Ham.
Yeah, but
West Ham are better than us right now. I hate to say
go to West Ham and get a guaranteed game week in, week out. he ain't going to come to Spurs to sit on the bench.
He's not leaving Manchester United for the comfort of Man United to then come and sit. Because I think he was playing a lot more for West Ham.
To West Ham. And I think he'd probably get the same sort of game time because the West Ham, at this precise moment in time, West Ham have got a better team, first 11 than us, and they're doing better in the league than us at the moment. I hate to say it, but Lingard why would Lingard get less game time at Spurs but more game time at West Ham when West Ham are probably in a better position than us as a football team stroke club?
I think with the formation that we play, it might be a bit more difficult. That's one thing, because I'm not quite sure what Jesse Lingard is in terms of a player. Is he a wide player? Not really. Is he a number 10? Not really. Is he a striker? Not really. So I don't know what he is.
How many players have we said that? Lucas Moura. What's Lucas Moura?
And that's what I'm saying. So we don't need to bring in more.
Keep it clean.
We don't need to bring in more. We need to get rid of them and bring in players specifically to do a job. A striker, a right winger, a right back, a full back, a creative midfielder. We can't keep bringing these hybrids in. We got too many hybrids. We got the likes of Moore, as you said. We got the likes of Stevie Bergwijn. We got Dele Alli. I want to see a specific player. Right, you want to play as a number 9. Right, I'm going to get him. I'm not going to get a 9/10 or 11. I'm going to get a number 9. And I want to see that all around. Specific players to do specific jobs within the system that he's got. He's playing a 3-4-3. That's what he should be looking to line up players for. I'm not sure Jesse. I don't know where he fits into that. I just don't know.
Right, listen. If we're gonna have beef now, right? If we're gonna keep bringing Dele Alli's name into the question, you need to start bringing in GLC. Yeah. The moment you mention Dele, GLC has to be mentioned in the same sentence, in the same phrase. Because this is wrong.
Sid, with GLC, he hasn't had a game under Conte. I don't think he's had a game under Conte, has he? Or if he has, he's had a few minutes.
He got kicking the wind outside.
It's going off. It's going to go off. He fell
outside in that hole.
Gentlemen, come on.
I think GLC needs to be given an opportunity. Same as Bergwijn. I think those two players need to be given an opportunity under Conte to see what they can do. Couple of games. If they're playing poor, get rid. Simple as.
I'm going to try and stop this now before we go off onto the Dele GLC debate, which I know Sid is not happy to talk about Dele unless we bring GLC in, and we've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes now. So it's time to wrap up. Anyway, thank you very much for this last super chat. The truth sets us free. We aren't winning cup with Winky in midfield, or Winksy as he likes to be called. We've even taken out the S out of his name now. Just call him Winky. Don't even call him Winksy no more. Just completely dismiss the S. Call him Winky.
That's what Conte calls him, isn't it? In his press conference, that's what he's referred to as, Winky.
And Hobby.
Oh, geez, this is really
Emil Hobby.
I think we can win. I think we can win the FA Cup. I really think we should be aiming. If we can get through the group,
we've got to have
we should also win that.
To us. We've got to have a kind draw.
But I really think we should be winning that bloody Europa Conference League. I really do. But we're Spurs in it.
See you at Wembley in May then, Sam. Yeah?
You might do that. Right, before we go, then let's come to you, Christina Zandes. Tell viewers where they can find you. Don't tell them your home address because anybody from Newcastle is coming to see you. But tell them where they can find you online.
At Christina Zandes. I'm on Twitter moaning and about Tottenham all the time. So yeah.
Sorry, such fun. Does anybody else want to say where they can be found? Let's come to you, Sid, because I know you've got a show coming up. So go on, plug the show. Do that for us.
Yeah, you can find me on Ask Sid. Friday, I think, maybe. I don't know. I'll see. But yeah, I'll be on Ask Sid. If anybody wants to talk about anything, couple of topics, we can pick one. Bergwijn looks like an interesting one to talk about, especially what's going on. Vlahovic could be another one we can talk about. So anything you want to ask Sid about, put it in the comments. Find us on YouTube, Twitter, we're everywhere, and let's talk.
Let's talk. I'm going to come around to both you and Mike as well. So, Sean, you can say where they can find you as well.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at HotspurHurley61, which gives you a date, an important year, the year I was born. The year I was born. When I was born, we were league champions. Oh, my God. And we haven't done it since. So you can see, look at these grey hairs. I've had them since I was 5, yeah. Anyway, yeah, you can see, you can get me tweeting about Tottenham and politics and all sorts of rubbish on Hotspur Hurley 61.
Yes, and also we've had one edition. I know you were doing another edition soon. A walk down.
Oh yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, it's in the works.
It's in works. I know. I just like to plug that as well. A walk down White Hart Memory Lane. Ah, such a good title. Who came up with that one? Oh, it was me. Ah, thank you for that, Shane. Ah, Mike, where can we find you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, on here on Paxton Road. Talking points, previews, post matches, etc. Sometimes I make the odd guest appearance on our Sid. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, Hotspur Hustler on Twitter and Instagram.
Give our shout out to the podcast as well. Don't forget our Spotify and Anchor. Go on, that's it.
Yeah, you can find Paxton Road on Twitter. Well, you can find us on Twitter, but on audio, yeah, you can find us on Spotify, Acast, and Anchor,
and Twitch as well. We're on Twitch. We're everywhere.
We're on Twitch.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. We're just getting everywhere.
Tell everyone.
We can't hear. Sanders, we can't hear.
Sorry, I didn't even know you were on Twitch.
There you go.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
There you go.
Oh, no, that's for young people. Us old guys can't do Twitch.
I'm actually not that young, so don't even.
I wish I was young.
You know that song that they keep singing, everywhere we go, Tottenham get whatever. Well, everywhere you go, Tottenham, Paxton Road's there. We're everywhere. I'm telling you, turn around and we'll be there.
We're there, definitely.
We're there. We're every beep, where.
Absolutely.
Well, people seem to have enjoyed the show. So the viewers who have managed to stay with us through the hour and 21 minutes we've been on, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. It's been a good show as well. We've enjoyed this one. I've enjoyed it, and certainly I hope the guests have as well. Before we go, please keep supporting us by smashing that like button. If you are new to the channel, also subscribe as well and look out for other shows. We've got Judge Jody's we mentioned before. We've got Sid Says. We've got Ask Sid as well, because that's what he's doing at the moment. Then he'll get into Sid Says. A walk down White Hart Memory Lane with Sean and Nigel's views as well. Previews, reactions. Lineup show with Darius 352K as well. There's quite a few things. We are everywhere, aren't we?
Yeah,
that's good, isn't it? We're
almost every day of the week.
Yeah, like,
well.
Come on in,
Absolutely.
Paxton Road TV.
Listen,
Come on, Paxton Road TV.
I've heard Craig David is rewriting 7 days now. What are you about Paxton Road?
Maybe we should reach out to him.
Yeah.
And one
He's a Southampton fan. Leave him alone.
One final serious matter before we go. Apologies to my Newcastle people. I lived there for 2 years and it's a great place. I loved it. So don't listen to Sandy because she doesn't know. She ain't been up there. She doesn't know. It's a fantastic city.
One of my favourite away trips.
One of my favourite places in the world as well. Go on, Sid. Go on. Just stick the knife in as well. Keep sticking the knife into her. Go on.
I'm saying I bet she's got Xander's got some of Cheryl Cole's records somewhere hiding as well.
Only Adele.
Oh, only Adele.
Oh, yeah.
Hello to her for me.
We do like Adele.
Tell her hello from the other side.
But in all honesty, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Hotspur Hustler. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Christina Zandes and Sean Hurley as well for being on. It's not Sean Hurley, it's Sean Hurley. But I'm going to call you Sean Hurley because that's what it's on your thing. Anyway. Fair enough as well. Right then, I think that's it. We've done enough now. I've talked enough and it's time to go. So we'll see you.